everyone, and welcome to Talking Reds on Wednesday in association with Tokyo Time. My name is Stewart. This guy over here is Dan Austin, and we're going to be talking about that fantastic thing that happened last night, where Liverpool won in the first leg of the quarterfinals of the Champions League. They beat Porto 2-0. Now, Dan, when you watched the game, there was a lot of chances for us. There was a few for them. Mm-hmm. It was comfortable in a way that a lot of games haven't been comfortable, but some people look at the end and think, oh, it's only 2-0. But I think we've got a lead. They didn't score. I'm happy with that. We can go over there and do the job.
I was so bored. I'm used to them doing mad things at the end of footy matches. And I've really developed a liking for it. So being 2-0 up after 25 hours, like, what's this? Where's the excitement in this now? Stop being too good, will you? But no, it's brilliant, isn't it, to be able to just go and watch your football team win massively important matches on a regular basis, because we all sort of approached this one like it was a pre-season friendly because it was a break from the league and stuff, and we just didn't want the stress of that. But the reality is that it's a humongous game of football.
It really is.
And, you know, no matter what you think of Porto, and it is the draw that we all wanted, they are, at this moment in time, at least one of the 8 best teams in Europe. Regardless of the draw they had in the group, you know, they've had difficult away games, and they've beaten Roma to get here, who we had a very difficult time playing against last season, only beat them by 1 goal on aggregate in the end. So they're a really good football team and showed a bit of it on the night, and for Liverpool to exert so much control over them without being, you know, totally decimating them like they were in the first leg last season in Portugal, shows loads of maturity and mainly just loads of quality. If you can keep an opposition football team in the quarter-final stage of the Champions League at arm's length in that way, then that's a sign that you're boss.
I think so. And like you say, Porto, it's really hard for people to get an idea of what they're really like at this stage, because obviously their own league, it's almost become like a 3-tier league, and there's only really 3 big teams. Obviously there's a result that happened last year, but they've been fantastic in Europe this season. I think that was the first time they haven't scored a goal away from home. And the control you spoke about, that's kind of where we need to be. That's what wins games in Europe. And we seem to be doing it really well at the moment.
We are, and it seems to be a shift in terms of what was going on last season. So last season we were playing absolutely insane football, right on the edge. And, you know, it worked all last season because we'd score 5 goals against them and we'd score 5 goals against Roma, and we'd be 3-0 up after 30 against Man City. But I think the manager's aware that that's not sustainable season after season after season, because it only takes one where you're piling forward trying to score goals and you just get hit on the counter twice. And suddenly you're out at the round of 16 stage maybe, or whatever it is. So it seems like he's recognised they can't just keep playing like that over and over and over again. And they're at this point now where they're categorically the better team when they come up against most sides in Europe. And they're capable of playing in this way, which allows them to be in control of the match, to be the most attacking team, to be the one that makes the most chances, but also while giving up very, very little at the back. Because as we mentioned, you know, Porto had a few chances, but none of them were ones that they should have scored. Porto can't be coming away from that match and thinking we should have had a goal there. I don't think, anyway.
I mean, I think Marega probably will think that because that's what strikers think. But I mean, if we were going to go all XG on it, then I'm sure that most of those chances probably weren't that high, if you look at it in that respect.
No, he did quite well with some of the chances as well, just to get a shot off, I think, because he was getting played in down channels and just sort of hitting and hoping with them. And they were on target, which is all you can sort of really ask from tight angles, but they never created anything where I felt genuinely worried. And once it went 2-0, I sort of expected it to go 3 and maybe 4, and for the tie to be dead after the first leg, which would obviously be a positive because it means that you can take the second one a bit more easily. You can maybe bring in players like Sturridge and Origi and Shaqiri, who got on towards the end.
Yes, they did.
Now we're probably going to have to go with a full first team just to make sure, but it's still a very, very comfortable position. It's an enviable position that anyone who reaches this stage of the European Cup would like to be in. A 2-0 first leg win, home or away, is fantastic, and you can't realistically ask any more from them.
No, and 2-0 wins at home in the first legs have generally been good for us. I think we've won 7 out of 7 in our European history, which, you know, that definitely bodes well for the future. But I like the idea of us now having to change our mindset from being the plucky, swashbuckling underdogs to being one of the favourites, one of the big boys in European football. And part of that stylistic change, I think, is a big part of that. I'm looking forward to the second leg going out there. Yes, fair enough, it's not going to be as comfortable as it could have been, but I think Robbo said it right on the post-match pint last night. We score first, they've got to get 4, and that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah, I think Liverpool will score a goal there, regardless of whether it's first or not. And I don't see them putting 4 past Liverpool, so I'm still very confident. Obviously, I would have liked more goals in the first one, but it still seems fine. It'll also be a different kind of game in that they've got to be the ones in charge of it. Liverpool will be happy, I think, to let them dictate the pace of however they want to play and then react to it. So if they think they're going to pile men forward, Liverpool can play in the break.
Yeah.
If they think they're going to sit and try and not concede and maybe get to the second half and then go a bit more forward, then Liverpool can say, "Sound, we won't concede for the first half either, and then we can pick you off when you do go forward." So all the power is with Liverpool. Porto are the ones that have to try and change it. Porto are the ones that have to change their game plan and their setup. Liverpool will go there, feel very comfortable. They'll have Robertson back as well, which is a big help.
Big help.
So I don't envisage any problems in the second leg. Even if they do go behind, we've seen in recent games how Liverpool react to either going behind or equalises late in games and stuff. So I'd be totally confident that even if Porto scored twice and went 2-0 up, the team would keep their heads, that they would know that they were the better team and that they would eventually force it over the line. So I think Liverpool will be absolutely fine. I'm expecting a semi-final.
See, talking of them going 2-0 up, you just want a bit of excitement, don't you? That's
Yeah. I would probably want them 3-0 up actually, and then a late one for us that puts us through on away goals. I love an away goals victory.
Oh, you know what though? It does make it a little bit more exciting when you have to fight for it through like that. And when you compare the way we've been playing football, winning games recently, to where it's that other team that we're always in competition with at the moment, and the way they've been doing it, I'd much prefer our version, definitely. Now, there was some, well, I want to say excitement, more confusion that happened within that game with our friend VAR, which we're going to get into in a big part in the second part of the show, but I think we should probably take a breather first.
Tokyo Time are partnering us throughout this season, sponsoring Talking Reds, and we're delighted they are doing so. They are a premium headwear company based here in Liverpool, but represented throughout the world. Here's a really cool video that made the shows a little bit more about what they're about. They're supporting us this season, so make sure you support them.
Perfect.
Cheers to Tokyo Time and to John there. Now, obviously, there's lots of things that did happen in the game. We got 2 goals. Naby Keita got another goal. Jordan Henderson played well. But we're not really going to go into the meat of all that because we've got another show called The Second Look, which we're going to be doing very soon, in which we're going to go into the full details of all that. But we're going to talk about VAR now because it's interesting. We got 2 very different perspectives. You were at the game, I was watching at home. Neither of us had a Scooby-Doo what the fuck was going on. I think overall, most of the decisions ended up being correct, but I mean, they've been doing this for a while now. How is it still so shambolic?
Again, pretty much nobody in the ground knew that anything was happening. So Porto had that corner, the one where they were checking for a penalty on Trent, and everyone was just like, why are they taking ages over this corner? Because we've only got the tiny screens.
Yeah.
It's obviously much easier if you've got the biggest screens in the world, like a Tottenham's new stadium or whatever. It's much easier to see what's going on. But yeah, until basically I pointed out that the telly's grassing on Trent there, saying it might be a pen. No one around me really knew. So it was confusing, and there needs to be some sort of clearer way to tell people in the stadium. I think from what I saw of the replays and stuff, it's very, very clear to people at home what's going on, and you see the replay over and over and over again. But in the ground, it's so very confusing as to what's happening because you're not even entirely sure what they're checking for. So that one, I think a lot of people thought maybe, well, are they checking if it's a corner or a goal kick, or what's the deal with it? Because it wasn't eminently obvious right away that there was a shout for handball. It just looked like the ball had gone out off him or whatever. So it's not the best way of implementing it in the ground, I don't think. And there were also a couple of things where it seemed like they were telling the referee without it actually going to an official review. So I'm confused as to what the difference is between an official review and them just saying, oh no, that was sound, just leave that, mate.
There seems to be somewhere the time delay made it look like it was happening while play was still going on, but I don't think it was. The one where they were checking Lovren's handball in particular, but
I didn't know there was a Lovren handball until you just said that.
Exactly.
It's just impossible to know.
Communication is the biggest issue. Now, obviously, there's been issue around having a screen at Anfield for a while. Most people have in the past seem to be against it, but we're at the stage now where VAR is coming, whether people out there like it or not. So it becomes a necessity if we don't want to have this happening week in, week out. We need to be able to have a screen and some communication. But like I said at the beginning, most of them, I think they got right. Trent, handball, I still think the ball's out of play when it hits his hands, which kind of makes it a nonsense anyway. Lovren one, he's not looking when the ball hits his hand, so I'm happy with that one not being one. The Sadio Mane offside for the potential 3-0 goal, it's like a teeny, tiny breath that he's maybe offside. So with those ones where it's either way, even though it's meant to be a straight line, I don't think that we can live or die against those kind of decisions.
Well, I think one, I haven't seen the full replay of the Mane one with the line or anything, but I sort of don't like that they're doing that now. I remember in the game that we played against West Brom were disallowed a goal that Jay Rodriguez scored because like his big toe was slightly beyond the line, and it's like the offside rule exists to stop people goal hanging. Basically, it exists to stop someone standing on the line and knocking stuff in.
Yeah, it's true.
It wasn't what it was meant for. The offside, when people were sorting out the rules of football however many years ago, it wasn't for this. It wasn't like, oh well, if your fingers are past the last defender, that can't count. And so it feels like we're getting to the point where we're just making it really surgical and too specific, and I'm not so interested in that. I would rather there were just more goals.
Yeah.
And I know I'm saying that in the back of Liverpool being disallowed one, but Liverpool won the game anyway, and I would say if it was a goal scored against Liverpool as well, I think we should just be sort of just giving things the benefit of the doubt, because I don't think anyone's gained an advantage in doing that, you know what I mean?
No, it's true. I think there should be some kind of way to bring in, I know again cross-sport comparisons don't always work, but you've got like the umpire's call in cricket whereby when it's so close, we go back to the referee's original decision. And in those kind of offsides, for me, it's not necessarily about the case of it being right or wrong. When it's that close, it's like, even if it is given wrong, you can justify, you can understand the decision. It's not one that's going to be blatant and obvious. And that's kind of what VAR should be concentrating on, getting rid of things that are obviously clearly injustices. Sometimes the referee's made a bad call, sometimes the referee's just not seen what's going on. We should concentrate on those and not analysing everything to the nth degree, but I realise even as I'm saying that, that's impossible because this is football and that's all we do, is analyse everything to the nth degree.
That's what we're about to do. We're going to just basically move our chairs behind that table and analyse this is Porto to the nth degree.
That's a very good point. And it's a very nice
But we're not grassing about it.
Oh, no.
That's better.
Yeah, and plus you hate all this VAR stuff, so that's literally the last we're going to be talking about it, so don't worry. But yes, we are about to record the second look. Obviously the post-match pint and the pink are already out there for you. We've also got the review show coming out later, and there's another fantasy football show in which you've been kind of slyly writing some kind of audio novel over the course of the season, and I imagine it's getting towards its conclusion.
Yeah, it's this sort of I'd say it's borderline theatrical. It's almost a play. I basically impersonate not very good British footballers who I've put in my Roto fantasy football team. So if you thought that a podcast about fantasy football would be boring, you were wrong.
Yes.
I will be doing a Geordie accent for a significant proportion of it, very badly. So badly, in fact, that it sounds more Jamaican. So that's your cup of tea. Sign up to the tour player service.
And even if you're just curious, which I know you are after that, sign up to listen to it. There's plenty more great stuff out there. But yeah, that's been Talking Reds today. We've been very happy, boys, because Liverpool have done the job we asked of them. Want to give a special birthday shout out to Sadio Mane for yesterday. Well done, lad. Up the Reds.